common denominator of, if I could say that, the grand equalizer of. I am the individual that this book was written about. The hidden dangers. This book was written to, of course, what's the word I'm looking for? Guardians? This book was written so as to insulate the false reality narrative that they have taught you. The false Christ narrative that you've been taught. This book tells you that when the fifth Buddha arrives, when the melanated Messiah arrives, which of course these are titles that have been directly that are directly associated with who I am. When Lord Maitreya, another title that's directly related to who I am and what I represent, when this arrival takes place, this arrival will also mean the arrival of the Antichrist. Now, how would the fifth Buddha, whose third eye opened, also have an association with an Antichrist? Answer: the Christ that the fifth Buddha would be, who I am, would be, of course, against, is the false Christ narrative. And these people were well aware of it long before slavery took place. And they found out about it at the Council of Nicaea. This is what these third eye blind, lower vibrational Gentiles decided to create as a line of defense for individuals who are, of course, looking to gain literary knowledge in the religious, genre. No matter where you are on the planet, you could find this book. It was written back in the 60s, 70s, early 70s, and I hope I've explained enough to you, but let me go ahead and read you a chapter or two. Although I had a strong biblical background, now of course this book is written by, it's Clarence Cumby. It's called The Hidden Dangers, #1 bestseller, Hidden Dangers of the Rainbow. The New Age movement and our coming age of barbarism. They're calling you a barbarian because you want to see clearly. Think about this. You thought that these books were meant to help you. And these books, the whole time, were meant to keep you destroyed. The individual who I'm going to be, who's written this, is a gatekeeper. And very shortly, I'm going to provide you with a line of defense again, as I mentioned earlier, yourself, so that you have an opportunity to present an offense and a defense, have a defensive line, so that your offense is tight. And what offense is that? Your conscious awareness, so that you can know who your enemies are in this matrix at this moment in time. I've been up since about, I'd say 5 o'clock, 5:30 yesterday afternoon, because most times I stay up during the morning hours to do a lot of research and do a lot of work. So it's now 6:30 a.m. the next morning, and I've been doing a lot of research, doing some planning, and I am getting a little tired. So bear with me, please. If my throat gets a little bit dry, I'm going to go get some water. As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to do that now. The Christ is now here. Wait till you hear this, folks. You're going to have some fun. And you're also going to have some fun finding out who the gatekeepers are in just a moment. Just give me a sec here. And how about we actually, since I got that out the way, how about we have some music? I think nothing wrong with a little music, right, friends? To deal with our ancient, very ancient enemy, our inner and outer third eye blindness. We have to know how it is. Our sight's being veiled. So I'll be right back with you, folks. I want to grab myself something to drink. Please bear with me. All right. Sorry about the intermission. I really had to take a quick break. Now, to get back to where I was. At the Council of Nicaea, those, of course, in the European bloodline who, of course, were able to establish Catholicism, Christendom, these individuals knew that this day would come. These, the bearers of our ancient enemy, they being our dark side, our shadow. Deuteronomy 28 told us of the fact that these fail-safe protocol bloodlines would come out of us. Your dark side will come out of you and reign over you. You will go from the top to the bottom. Now, these individuals knew, folks, that there would come a day where we would have an opportunity to go from the bottom to the top. This is that day. I can assure you this is that day. And I am the individual who was long ago prophesied to be here on this day. And you are the brothers and sisters that were long ago prophesied to be here with me on this wonderful day. I am Lord Maitreya, as this book explains. So, in an attempt to create an obstacle to anyone here in America who had a literary thumb, of course, you know how they like to keep a system of a down degrading by keeping your delusion up, the chaos up, your confusion high, your desperation high, your fear high, your emptiness wide. And they do it all through telling lies in all forms of media. They knew that in this day that I would be speaking to the world on the airwaves, and they wrote about it. And here I am. They said, and I'm going to read it to you, that I would be speaking key words that, ladies and gentlemen, I have been speaking, and I was speaking prior to even being led to pick this book up when I was on a journey in Augusta, Georgia, just floating around the country. The guidance and miracles of God and the angels, the Most High. For those of you who are third eye open, we call that the Most High, the vision of our three-divisional, electrochemical, magnetic, interdimensional Trinity spectrum. These individuals do not want to give up the power they have gained. These individuals have gained major control. There are many individuals in the media right now who I'm going to make you well aware of in just a moment after reading this. I cannot allow myself to continue, or I cannot allow you to go on without, as I said a little bit ago, knowing who your enemies are and how to spot them. And remember, it's how your information is delivered and by who it's delivered that determines the amount of leverage they have over control of your mind. So, the individuals I'm going to tell you about in a moment are individuals who are presently standing against your redemption in August of 2022. These individuals are ridiculous. They are part of the same third eye blind, mind-controlling apparatus that put this book together in the 50s. Some of these people are sitting right next to you. They work with you. And they're sold totally to the dark side, to the shadow, to our ancient enemy. The deception of consciousness. Your consciousness. Their consciousness. And they don't even mind it. They're numb to being unconscious. Reprobate mind. It's what it's come to. And thank God I was able to save myself from it. All right. This is an excerpt, and the author's name, again, is Constance Cumby. He's attempting to explain to you why it is he got involved in the New Age and where his interest sprouted from. And of course, folks, they always present themselves to be very sincere and wanting to help you, an average citizen, get along in life and, just and help you find greater faith in a Christ narrative that's not even authentic, but necessary. Remember, it was a blessing and a curse. You and I had to deal with the short end of that stick, but we benefited from the long end of it because Christianity was a bridge to the truth that is now here. I hope everyone's following me because it's time for the entertainment to get serious. And once again, I thank you for joining me. Forgive me if I'm not what you've expected from a chemical perspective, but this is secondary. What's primary is my projection limit. My capacity to see and hear. So I hope you will understand that that's also what's most valuable about you at this time. Shall I go on? Narration. Chapter 2. Awakening to the New Age movement. Although I had a strong biblical background as a child, I must confess that, like many of my peers, I paid scant attention to end-time prophecies in my adult years. This changed for me when I began to notice the profusion of materials in bookstores, both religious and secular, containing similar unique vocabularies and an apparent political platform. Many of the books also contained postcards, enabling one to obtain additional information, an old political organizer's trick to help compile a mailing list of sympathizers. I thought the proposals, even those appearing on Christian bookstore shelves, appeared suspiciously similar to what is described in Revelation 13:16, verses 16 through 17. And he caused all to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. These books, even the Christian ones, were calling for a new world order with an accompanying global food redistribution program, aided, of course, by modern technology, that is, computers. This startled me, for even during my wilderness years, I had retained an opinion that for a system such as that described in Revelation to come into being, it would necessarily require computer implementation. Now, folks, I want you to know that what I'm reading you is actually verbatim out of this book. And to prove that, I want to come up to you. And I hope that you could see that. It says, these books, even the Christian ones, were calling for a new world order with an accompanying global food redistribution program. Let's go down here now. I also understood, even as a child, that Christians were to resist this system. That would be the New World Order. Now they're actually attempting to confuse you because, folks, the same individuals who programmed you to fuel the actual development of the New World Order had this gentleman create this book and so as to maintain your chaos and confusion. And in this book, this man wrote that you should resist the New World Order. Now, this is, of course, those of you who are further under misidentity programming with a overlaying of religious dogma, principles, and precepts, of course, that come out of a false Christ narrative. Now, you are Christ. We'll get back to that in a moment. However, I kind of lost myself, but I'm going to get back online here real quick. And I do apologize. This is thinking about all of the different ways in which this programming exists sometimes throws you off course. So, this gentleman says here that I had retained an opinion that for a system such as that described in Revelation to come into being, it would necessarily require computer implementation. So, as I said, brothers and sisters, these individuals are in this book. This individual, Mr. Cumbie, is attempting to, in this particular paragraph, influence you to believe that I, being the Antichrist, am going to be the individual to bring into being the New World Order. I am going to influence you to take the mark. Now, I'm letting you know that before I read it. This is what these individuals who knew by the movement of the stars, the electromagnetic forces that govern our reincarnation into bodies, which allow us to have a birth date and experience what the third eye blind call being alive. These individuals, knowing that this day would come where you would have to, acknowledging the reality that I have made the declaration of being the long ago prophesied to come melanated Messiah, knowing you would have to make a decision, this book was created to maintain your confusion in this moment. The wars that are existing now are meant to proliferate your fear Okay? And of course, the food shortage, that of course is meant to bring your desperation to new heights. And of course, all of these combined, all of these negative effects and all of these negative inputs combined, they will, of course, leave you in total dismay. This is what they had planned. And this is why they created books like this. And this is why so many educators have been hushed for the past few hundred generations. Not only prior to the not only after the Council of Nicaea, but prior to it, by the original Babylonians, which are, of course, are melanated, the frequency existing behind our root host, psychogenetic, grand equalizing, male and female. Counterparts, and that would be the black man and the black woman. That would be the frequency existing behind their temporal avatars. And this frequency is the Christ conscious frequency that we're talking about. That frequency that magnetically fell in perception by the decision to be defined by what begins and ends. As the Bible calls it, they decided to eat the apple of the tree of the knowledge of good, beginning and end, and evil, which would be ending, which would correlate to an ending. All right, so to go on, or to get back to this, because I need you people to realize how very serious these people are right now, keeping you hush-hush and blind and lost. This is manipulation at its highest. Okay? These books, as I continue, these books, even the Christian ones, were calling for a new world order with an accompanying global food redistribution program. Aided, of course, by modern technology, that is computers. This startled me, for even during my wilderness years, I had retained an opinion that for a system such as that described in Revelation to come into being, it would necessarily require computer implementation. I also understood that even as a child, that Christians were to resist this system with every ounce of their being. Therefore, I was particularly startled when I found one such book by a Baptist writer that told Christians they must champion this new world order even if it meant imprisonment. Many of these books either openly advocated Eastern religions or told Christians we had much in common with their essentials. Now, folks, anybody who knows anything about Western colonization knows that there are no Eastern there is no Eastern belief system when it comes to those who believe you can do as thou wilt. Any one of you know that. Do you see where they are inputting the confusion there, as I mentioned a little bit ago? Okay, many of these books either openly advocated Eastern religions or told Christians we had much in common with their essentials. Now, Of course, they're making a direct correlation to the reality that Christ, the original Christ, was omniscient, omnipotent, knew his interdimensional space, and he was third eye open, as opposed to third eye blind, with high vibrational perception as opposed to low vibrational perception, and only the capacity to function through lower sensory, with a lower sensory capacity. I'll explain that very shortly. But just so you understand that they're speaking on how it was Christ. The original Buddha is the black man. It's not the skin, it's not the color, it's not the face, it's not the texture of the skin, how soft it is, the texture of the hair. It has nothing to do with that. Those are secondary electrochemical, electromagnetic conversion supports that we attracted to. Okay? We're infinite beings. Remember that. This is an immortal life support creation matrix program. It's been here for millions of years. Okay? We're infinite beings. We naturally vibrate with omniscient perception. Now, until it is we decide to define ourselves by what's here 1 minute and gone next. Define the value of our existence. Okay? Now, this is what I really want you to pay attention to, what I'm about to read you now. Because I mentioned to you a minute ago about the words that they predicted long before this book was written, that I would be using. Pay attention, please. Many of these books either openly advocated Eastern religions or told Christians we had much in common with their essentials. The vocabularies included such New Age buzzwords as holistic, spaceship Earth. Consider the UAPs, consider what they're calling the UFOs, and the truth that I, of course, have already espoused in regards to them being our brothers and sisters. In of course, consciousness. And because we're infinite beings, they also electromagnetically convert through